We're super excited to talk to you guys again tonight. Once again on YouTube. We got some loyal followers. We've grown a little bit, and that's exciting. We'll hope some of you jump in here, Rancidity, Pickle, Bill Boy, and others that are regulars. But Rob, how was your week been, man? How are things going for you?
It's been good, man. It's also been kind of rough.
Yeah,
The students are starting to get that summer angst.
they're getting the itch to get
They
out.
they know that school's about to be out, and sometimes it's off the hook, sometimes it's going good, but
Need extended recess time to get all that pent up energy out,
man,
man.
principal says higher, more rigor, and don't let up. So that's what I'm doing.
There you go.
Trying
Now
not to
that's
let
the
up,
advice we need from our educators.
even though I'm tired.
Yeah, bro, it's got to
What's
be
up,
hard
Randy?
not to do that. What's going on, Rancid Diddy? Good to see you in live again, joining us again. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the support. Yeah, things are tough, man. Things People aren't buying stuff right now, so it's a little hard to sell furniture right now. I admit, things are going tough in the industry. Just in general, people aren't buying extra things because the inflation is insane with everything else. They're not spending money on extra things right now. So it's just what it is. So I try and make up for it. I try and do my best, but you can only do so much, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, to get to tonight's topics, man, we went to the spring game, and I know Rancidity, you went to the G Day game, didn't you? Tell us how your experience was down at that one in Athens on campus. How many people attended? In Columbus, we had 80,000 show up, man.
I thought it was
80,012 reported.
87,000.
What's that?
I thought it was 87,000.
No, 80,012 was the
Uh,
official reported number.
gotcha.
That'd be epic. We surpassed 100,000 in years past, and that was pretty epic because Urban Meyer promoted the crap out of it. I felt like Ryan Day did a pretty good job of supporting it. We had great weather for the game, so that made a lot of people show up and show out. Um, we almost didn't get to go into the game because of my lack of technological skills and lack of experience with buying the online. Um, we had to sit outside the stadium for about 30 minutes trying to find our tickets.
Dude, I was sweating, man, that we were
I
that.
was getting furious at myself. There's only one person I could be mad at, and it was myself.
Yeah. Hey, Rance Diddy, how did KJ Bolden get some time?
Yeah, I wonder how the quarterbacks looked. Yeah, we're definitely going to
Yeah.
talk about that Rand
We'll
City.
talk.
That is their second topic on deck. We stick
Uh,
around, and we'll definitely be talking about Michigan's probationary period and what that means, what it doesn't mean, what we think it means, how we interpret it. We're definitely going to get into that once we cover the Buckeye spring game. We definitely want to talk about that first, though. Um, Rob, this is your first spring game. I've been to like nine, and like I'd say about eight or nine, and admittedly. I think they dumbed down the in-person experience this time. Like in past spring games, there's been a lot more competitions, activities, stuff to engage the crowd. This year, I think because Fox had the national broadcast, they took away some of those things. So that the experience for me wasn't as exciting as it typically is. But what'd you think being the first spring game that you ever attended to? Would you go again, or what do you think?
honestly, like, I'm a big Buckeye fan. I'd go, but
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that they like amped up the competition. I just felt like
Yeah,
it was kind of like they were just trying to get through a scrimmage. They weren't trying to do any razzle dazzle stuff.
I'm trying to show much.
The whistle got blown way too early, and it was just like kind of, I don't know. I would say like
Nice.
going through the motions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, seeing it was fun. It was my first spring game, and for all those who are wondering, man, you've been a Buckeye fan your whole life. It was your first spring game. My family, they're all Michigan State fans, so
Right.
I had like no one to go up there with. So
Right. My advantage
yeah,
is I had family right there in Columbus, like multiple family members in Columbus that we could get free lodging at. We could get up and have plenty of time to go to the game, get down and experience the atmosphere. That's one thing I really I feel bad about because this is your first spring game that we didn't get to experience more of the atmosphere outside of the stadium, like with the radio shows, and we missed the pregame player walk. We saw them go by in the buses, obviously, but there was so much I felt like we missed out on, and I feel like that's my fault because of the ticket snafu.
Yeah. I mean, like I've been to college game day for the I went to my buddy and I we went to college game day for the Ohio State Penn State game, and that was awesome. Like that was like the
Yeah, electric atmosphere, I'm sure, right?
yeah. But going back to the spring game,
Yeah,
I just if if we go next year, I just hope that there's more competition. Maybe they actually let them tackle. I don't know, but
see,
I just again
at
I
Urban used to have the hit drill going on at the spring game, which was amazing to watch live. They used to have the Oklahoma drill is what it's called, where they smash into each other and whoever wins comes out victorious in front of 100,000 people. Can you imagine how raucous that would get? It was amazing.
that would be intense, and that's the thing. There's chatter going around the Charmin saw Ryan Day in Ohio State program. You know, we didn't they weren't allowed to tackle. They blew the whistle early. I mean, come on, like let the quarterback run a little more. Let the running backs make more cuts. Don't just
Sure.
oh got him with the pinky. Let's blow the whistle.
Nobody. We saw Quinjon Judkins hit the hole, and there was one safety between him and the end zone. But since there's basically no contact, he couldn't run him over and chuck stick him like I'm sure he's prone to do. So he had to try and juke him, but he was technically down. If you remember that play. What's up? What's up? Was there tackling in the G Day game, Rancidity? How about that? I'm curious to know about that because everybody does the spring game a little bit differently. I know Michigan had live tackling last year. We'll see what Sharon Moore does if he has live tackling or not. Obviously, there's the quarterbacks are gonna be no contact. That's the same
Yeah,
everywhere.
I want to know if the safety, the freshman safety, KJ Bolden got in. I don't know if you addressed that yet.
Oh, that's good to hear, man. That makes it a lot more fun, man. There's when you can see people break tackles, you can see people miss tackles, you can see people make amazing hits. That's what makes football football, right, man? We love the sport of football for the contact. And the spring game at Ohio State the last couple of years just hasn't quite been the same. It's unfortunate, but the quarterback battle. Let's talk about that a little bit. Now, both Will Howard and Devin Brown, as we mentioned in our analysis in our post game live from the shoe, they kind of stood above the others, but nothing's super spectacular. Um, the only pushback I would give on your video is Will Howard did make one really good throw, I thought, to Emeka Buka, the one-handed catch. He was against the grain, thrown against his body, and made it only where his receiver could catch it. But other than that, Will Howard was basically throwing checkdowns. Am I wrong?
Yeah, Will check down Howard. Started
Yeah,
for your defense. He got a large amount of time, and he was looking very good. I wish we also had Caleb Downs, but it is what it is.
we'll
Oh
take him
wow,
gladly.
started. Wow, that's big. Seeing that it's the Georgia Bulldogs, but yeah, I was seeing a lot
That's
of
good.
checkdowns from Will Howard, and it makes me very nervous because is that what we're gonna get
Hmm.
during the season? Do we have is that a quarterback who cannot really read the field and the first sign of pressure or
Hmm.
getting nervous, he just checks down and throws to the
Now
clean.
he did have a couple throws to the end zone. He tried to hit J.J. Smith twice in the end zone, but he kind of underthrew both those, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Um,
if he would have threw it a
Not the
little
greatest
higher,
passes.
yeah, if he would have threw it a little higher, I think JJ could have gotten it. But
Throw it up there. Give him a chance to go get it.
yeah, I mean, like it was just really disappointing what I saw from. I'm sorry, but seeing how the standard was set with the last three quarterbacks, like,
Been
uh,
super spoiled.
yeah, we're as fans, we're really spoiled at the quarterback position. I mean,
We
going
had three tremendous quarterbacks in a row come through Columbus, and then we got Kyle McCord, and everybody rips on him now because he's just not up to the standard. And I said to you on the way down to Columbus, I was like, dude, from what I've been hearing out of practice, maybe some will change my opinion today. But I feel like Will Howard and Devin Brown or Julian Sain aren't going to be the upgrades that we're all expecting to be over Kyle McCord that we're all hoping for. Um, and I feel like that kind of proved to be true. Like, now, granted, Howard's only been on campus 3 months, and Sagan's only been on campus 2 months, but he looks really undersized. He needs to put on some weight. Will
yeah,
Howard needs to get some timing and rhythm down with his wide receivers. And Devin Brown's Devin Brown. He's just Devin Brown.
I'm sorry, but Quinn Ewers really screwed up that quarterback room. Not only did he reclassify, but he knew that he could get a large amount of money. And I guarantee you, in the back of his head, just like, you know what, I'm gonna milk Columbus for what it's worth,
Oh,
and
yeah.
back to Texas. And he screwed us over.
I
We're
think that was his
still
plan all along. Do you or do you not?
I think so. I mean, he screwed up the quarterback room. I mean, we're still feeling it. We're still
He
feeling
took he
like
took $1.4 million from Ohio State and didn't even give Ohio State a second thought in going back to Texas. And hats off to him. He made the playoffs last year with Texas.
I
I
don't know,
think
like
when Ewers, I think we make the playoffs last year.
it could be that he didn't want to sit behind C.J. Stroud another year. I mean, he did start like day one at Texas as soon as he got in there.
True.
If it wasn't for his shoulder, they more likely would have beat Alabama that year.
Right.
But still, like what he did was not cool. Like if you're not committed, don't come. Don't come.
I don't think it's the last time we're going to see moves like that either. Taking a big NIL bag from, I think coaches, this is a little bit of me of the Senate coming up, but I bet you there'll be coaches that will say, go to them for a year, study them a little bit for us, take the bag, and then we'll give you a bigger bag to come here your second year. And then you'll start for us.
Yeah.
Just a theory. I'm a little bit of conspiracy theorist in that sense. And I think that's going to become a reality. Like, I mean, you see players all over going for the bag. I mean, it's crazy, bro. You see it in women's basketball, even. People are going and transferring for the bag at other schools. It's wild. Um, so to think it won't happen in college football is a little bit naive in my part. But if you were to pick the starter right now, based on the spring game that we saw, I came home and I watched the game later that night, and I turned it off halfway through because it was just pretty boring to watch again, you know. Um, but who would you think would get the starting nod at quarterback come fall if that decision had to be made shortly?
Man, I'd say Will Howard.
Okay, why you say Will?
I don't know. He has the most experience, and that's just what they need. They need a game manager. Maybe that's just what they need. They need a game manager, not a game changer. A guy who can make throws when needed, but a guy who also knows how to take care of the ball and know how to
Sure.
shine in big game time situations. So, I mean, Will Howard's not elite, but
No.
he can be good to the point where it could be like kind of like JJ McCarthy didn't do much for Michigan, but their running game was so great that it didn't really matter. Maybe it's going to be that type of year. But then again, like we have such great wide receivers that
Yeah.
it'd
Yeah.
be hard to picture it happening like that. But
It's hard to see a quarterback not being able to throw for 3,000 yards on an offense, right?
yeah,
And
it really
25
is.
touchdowns easily.
I mean, just like and these receivers are just they're next. Ohio State's receivers, they're always next level. Like
Next level, bro.
you gotta get them the ball. You just gotta.
You got to. Now, here's the other thing I want to point to kind of play devil's advocate a little bit. Defense in the spring usually and typically is ahead of the offense in the spring. Okay. Um, Now we have an elite defense. BIA is out there. We have probably a top two secondary, if not the top secondary in the country heading into this year with Caleb Downs, Ignos, and Hancock, Burke. and our not favorite player, Lathan Ransom. But
Yeah. I could see
I think
Jermaine
he's improved.
time.
Say again.
I could see Jermaine Matthews getting some time.
Jermaine Matthews getting some time, and so you take the quarterback's performance with a little bit of a grain of salt. Um, Now Brown moved around, he scrambled a little bit more, so he was a little bit more productive. He had a when you look at stats, he had a decent day. But when you look at throws when he saw live in the stadium, I was like, I don't know about that. Um, but that's the point of our secondary being elite and the defense being ahead of the offense in the spring typically. I'm not sure who that is. Might have a black candidate on there, especially with the name. Um,
Do you think Dixon Cider what can get
Um, so,
snapped?
so what do you think about a defensive secondary and that playing into the quarterback battle and them not looking as elite or not looking sharp or crisp? What do you think? Do you think that's a thing, or am
That
I just trying to cope?
the cornerbacks are so good, or
Yeah, like our secondary is so elite, and the defense is always going to be ahead of the offense in the spring, or am I just coping? And because our quarterbacks didn't look great,
it could be both, man. I mean the cornerbacks had a really great season last year. Again, didn't give up a passing play of 20 more than 20 yards.
right?
And it could be the fact that Will Howard just isn't it.
Yeah, I think it is a mixture of the two also. Like I don't want to read too much into how elite our secondary is. They were elite last year and they're going to be elite again this year. I know that. Um but is Howard just kind of mediocre? Is he kind of an average quarterback, you know? Is he mid? So we'll find out come the fall, but that'll be an interesting thing to look forward to, man.
You know the thing that they always bring up, like, well, he helped he helped this team, he helped Kansas State win against TCU
Win the
when
Big 12
TCU went to the
championship.
playoffs. But I think that watching that tape, that was more Deuce Vaughn that was getting that done. Like,
Was it? Oh, so you actually
yeah.
went back and watched the tape. I haven't done that yet.
No, I actually I remember the game because I watched the
Oh,
whole
okay.
game, and it was a
Oh,
lot of
nice.
Deuce Vaughn. Like, that dude was he's kind of like he's like a Darren Sproles, like short and
Okay.
slippery, can hide behind his lineman, and then
Same
do
school
that
too,
big
by the
burst
way.
of speed. Like, yeah. So I think that if anything, Will Howard could end up being just a game manager, which
Do
I'm
you think
just
that's good enough for Ohio State this year? I mean, we went 11-2, basically 11-1, pre a regular season with a game manager quarterback, not a game a playmaking quarterback, not one of those guys. So, can we do that again? Is that enough with our defense coming back, almost everybody coming back, and an elite ground game that we're going to have now?
if they play the cards right and they call the right plays, yes. I mean, they're gonna be like, I think, the oldest team in college football with the most team chemistry, especially on defense. And if Chip Kelly calls the right plays and the offense really hits their stride when it matters, and it all comes together, I could see it not mattering that they just have a
Yeah.
game manager.
To your point, Man City, I kind of disagree. I feel like we have a fairly like it starts super easy for Ohio State, but we have a couple primetime games this year. Um, we play at Oregon. Of course, we play at Penn State, and then we host Michigan. So it is only a 3-game schedule. You're right. The schedule's not totally loaded, but there are some huge monumental games in there. And I think to the question that I just asked you, Rob, I think it's good enough to get us a bye in the playoffs. I don't know if it's good enough to win us in the national championship, and that disappoints me.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh my gosh, man, like,
Like if they don't, people are gonna be furious.
I don't know, dude. Well, maybe maybe they admit their mistake, that they freaked out and got Will Howard due to panic. and maybe another quarterback enters the transfer portal coming
He
soon.
was one of the first quarterbacks taken. I remember Dylan Gabriel went first, and I was super pissed about that because I wanted him. And then Will Howard, if I recall correctly, was the second quarterback taken out of the portal. So like we had our options, and we picked Will. So that's interesting.
Man, who is that quarterback from? I think it was Washington State.
Cam
Wasn't it?
Ward.
Yeah, Cam Ward. So what happened with that is he never wanted to come to Columbus. He called JJ Smith and said, "Hey, if you commit to Miami, I'm gonna forego the draft and commit to Miami."
Wow. Wow. That's some good intel right there. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
And
So
then Dante Moore was in the portal. I would have taken him.
they're both him and Dylan Gabriel are both at Oregon.
I
Oregon.
know.
That's just not fair, man.
It's kind of an odd thing because like usually when you're in the portal, you're there to go to start somewhere, not to sit on the bench for a year
I mean,
behind
here's the
somebody.
thing though. They want to be the next Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix did well as a transfer at Oregon.
He elevated his game monumentally
Yeah.
and exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did you come home and watch the Fox broadcast, or did you see the Fox broadcast, or any of the interviews on there, or anything like that? Um, did you watch any of that, or not so
No,
much?
no, not so much, man.
Okay. See, I wanted to watch it because there was interesting interviews, and so I watched the first half, but I did get pretty bored, honestly. So I thought it was pretty interesting. I know it's a juxtaposition, but there's some cool interviews they did on the spot with Ryan Day, where he said, "No, you're not. The quarterbacks aren't getting the ball out quick enough, and it's frustrating me. He's a quarterback guy, so that's just his persona and his personality coming out, being the quarterback's coach essentially.
I mean,
So that was cool to see. But overall, the Fox broadcast." I'm still not sure why they're broadcasting spring games, but I guarantee this isn't the last time because I bet they got ratings.
yeah, I mean, like Ryan Day's not wrong. I mean, they did hold on the ball for too long. That's when
Hmm.
Will Howard did all his checkdowns.
Sure, sure.
So
Not
I
reading
mean,
the field.
same as Julian saying, like he held on the ball for too long. Sometimes Devin Brown held on the ball for too long. Like I just don't know what's going on, man.
I wasn't
Like
super
like
impressed with the quarterback.
how did they just like how did the quarterback room just Well, no, I just said how the quarterback room just plateaued off. If
Yeah,
you look at the
that's all.
quarterbacks that Ryan Day was going after, they committed, then decommitted, and then the quarterbacks Ryan Day had to settle for. That's what happens.
And we just had another Ohio quarterback. Drew LR was an Ohio quarterback who I was disappointed to let go, but based on his performance so far, not that disappointed. But we
Di-
just had another Ohio quarterback go to
yeah, Ryan
Georgia.
Montgomery.
Ryan Rancidity,
He
Georgia commit.
he committed to Georgia, man. I know Matt texted me and
Yep.
he said this is not good. A four-star quarterback from Ohio goes to Georgia. Like, but here's the thing though, it goes both ways. We take
Yeah.
from Georgia, sometimes they take from us. So,
And we
it's
got a 5-star quarterback from Ohio, and Tavion St. Clair in the same class. So
yeah.
it is one of the things that we value Tavion over Montgomery. But it's an interesting thing there, man. Yeah, so that was our spring game experience, man. We had some great barbecue afterwards. That was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, dude.
Um, Ray's Barbecue Pit in Westerville, man. Give the place a little shout out and sponsor us if you want to. Um, and so that was a good time. I had some Buckeye donuts after the game, so that was cool. Got to experience that legendary Buckeye donut shop down in Columbus on High Street there. But overall, yeah, man, I had a good time in the spring game. My eighth and ninth time down there. I'll go again. We definitely do have to get there earlier though if we're gonna do it again. That was our only mistake. We didn't leave early
Yeah.
enough. We didn't leave early enough from Michigan. So, um, all right. Speaking of Michigan, let's get to the probation that was dropped by the NCAA. Now, this is not over sign gate stealing. This is over the quote unquote MGO blog named Cheeseburger Gate. That's not what it was about. It was about COVID restriction violations. And that's why it's an actual thing and they got actual repercussions for their actions. What are your thoughts on 3-year probationary period for the Michigan Wolverine program?
I don't
Big
know,
deal, not big
man.
deal.
it could be a big deal, and here's why.
Hmm.
I don't know if we just need to let go of the whole sign gate thing,
Sure.
but I mean, if they're found guilty of the sign gate thing, they're on 3-year probation. I mean, that could be a huge deal.
If
But
something comes down in this 3-year program, in the 3-year preliminary period, that's huge. If though, big if.
yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. Didn't Jim Har It was found that Jim Harbaugh misled investigators.
He
why
wasn't
why
cooperating.
wasn't there why wasn't there a bigger punishment for that?
That's a little surprising, man. I mean, when you lie to investigators, that's what got Jim Tressel fired for his job. He got let go because he lied about the investigation. And if Jim Harbaugh misled, I mean, I guess maybe they see it as water under the bridge because they got him to leave anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
So one
like,
way or another, he was removed. I think we should
I
revoke the
think we should
natty.
revoke the natty. I don't like. Oh yeah. So here's another thing. They were about to suspend Jim Harbaugh longer
Right.
because of the comment that the lawyer made
Yes.
about the
The
investigation,
the back and
basically
forth that was going
slamming
on.
the NCAA.
Yeah, man. I think there was a clear shift pre Penn State game and post Penn State game on the way the Michigan administration was handling things. I think they got word that said, "Listen, we're coming down if you keep on talking this junk in this big game. We're coming down on you and Harbaugh." And then you noticed the big, you know, chest puffing that Michigan was doing just immediately stopped. So that was really interesting to notice. Um,
I mean, I,
and
I
I think that
blame
had to do with what you just said.
I blame Harb. That's just the culture Harbaugh cultivated. It
Sure.
was it was just nonsense, man. I mean, like, you could just tell that Harbaugh's and just arrogant and
Oh, he is.
pompous and
He is. He's very
just
smart.
like, and that's what he made his players. He probably egged on his lawyer to make that post. I mean, that's just who he
Sure.
is.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. It's who he is as a man, as a human being. He's been that way. He was that way in Michigan as a quarterback. He's not changed, and he never has changed. And he never will change. Um, I think he's just created that culture of blame shifting, and I think that's why the NCAA is going to come down hard on him. The sad part is all the Michigan fans are still going to tap about the Natty for the next 50 years. Oh yeah, they are going to talk about it and say you should read MGO blog in the comments that they're still in full denial that this is bullcrap, that anything happened in general. But here's the thing: the sign gate stealing was the bigger issue of the two. They weren't worried about Cheeseburger Gate, and then that's why they called it Cheeseburger Gate because they thought it was over a cheeseburger. No, it was over hosting recruits during a COVID restriction period, a cold recruiting period.
and they
And
have they had
Michigan
a lot of the
tries to.
staff present.
What's that?
They had a lot of the staff present too.
They had a lot of staff present, and that's what Michigan fans just continue to gloss over and ignore and not acknowledge. And now this sign stealing thing is the bigger fish of the two. And if they look into this and come to a more swift resolution than this 4-year period, basically 3.5 years it took for him to lay the law down on this, if they come down within a 3-year period, you could have some serious ramifications for the Michigan program. Uh, I honestly, for the cheeseburger gate, we saw a fine, we saw a 3-year probation, and we saw um, recruiting restrictions. Now, none of that was made public what the recruiting restrictions are. I was hoping for scholarship reduction. That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah,
We didn't see that.
I don't know, man. Like, it was just I was getting a lot of mixed messages from the I was
Hmm.
just getting a lot of mixed messages from the articles that I was reading saying, like, okay, they're put on 3-year probation, but like the like what's part of the 3-year probation wasn't announced yet.
Right, 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 right. The recruiting, the fine wasn't announced how much they were fined, and recruiting penalties or restrictions, they weren't announced exactly what specifically they are. And what is 3 year probation? You get 3 year probation just in like the name of the law, the letter of the law. Like you get in trouble again on probation, that's a big deal. So we'll see what happens, man. But with the whole sign gate ceiling thing, I
So
think,
what? Since they're on probation for 3 years, what could it mean for their probation if it's found that they were guilty of Signgate?
oh, I think very harsh punishments would come then. I mean, just like in the court of law or the letter of the law, if you get trouble on probation, you're freaking screwed, dude. I think we could see those scholarship reductions. We could see bowl bans. We could see wins taken away like we did with Ohio State. Level 1 violations. So that's what's at stake for them with this second investigation within 3 years. So there's a lot on the table. Michigan fans want to, puff their chests and talk all this smack and say, "Oh, nothing's going to happen. We're going to celebrate our natty and bury our head in the sand." Where in reality, things could get real serious come down the turnpike for them.
Yeah,
This
I don't.
investigation's not over.
I don't think that they're going to revoke the Natty.
I don't think so either.
I think that they could vacate some wins and give them some scholarship reduction and a year bowl ban.
Yeah, I could see a year bowl ban, just like with the Buckeyes that we saw in
I mean, to me, that
the
would
year.
just be wild if they didn't get found guilty for like any of the sign gate. I mean, but maybe we just got to move on from that. Maybe the what the NCAA announced about even though the sign gate was exposed, they still went on to win the national
And that they won
championship.
fairly or whatever.
Maybe that was a telling sign that the NCAA is just like everybody needs to get over it and move on, which would be which would that would just blow my mind.
It'd be kind
Because
of insane to
what
nail them for the lesser violation and
yeah,
not get them for the bigger violations.
what you're essentially doing is saying that it's okay to cheat in college football.
Yeah,
But God but God for but God forbid in the past if someone signed an autograph for money or somebody
right.
sold their memorabilia for tattoos or somebody took a house for their family.
Sure, sure, sure. Cam Newton, it was Auburn never got in trouble. It's common knowledge they got $180,000 in the house for his father. So I mean,
No,
nothing ever happened to him.
here's the thing. Here's what I heard. I heard that he had no knowledge of the business deals his father made with Auburn to get Cam Newton to go there.
Interesting. Okay, you might know a little bit more about than
So
I do.
I noticed that it was said like his dad was like he wasn't at the Heisman ceremony. He
Hmm.
wasn't he wasn't like anywhere like he wasn't at the NFL draft, just
Oh
things like
wow,
that. So I remember that
interesting.
too, yeah. He wasn't at the Heisman ceremony, he wasn't at the NFL draft.
Man, good memory.
So
That was a while ago. That was 14 years ago. Good
yeah.
memory.
Yeah,
That's awesome,
definitely.
dude.
But we'll see what happens. But again, maybe in the politest way possible, the NCAA told everybody you just got to move on.
It's very possible that could be what was going on with that announcement from the NCAA president, and maybe even more so as the fact that Ward Manuel, the AD, is now the college football playoff chairman. I mean, that's a pretty big deal too. So maybe we should all move on. As a Buckeye fan, I feel like this championship will always be tainted in my eyes. But respect to them, they went 15-0 on the field.
I mean,
You know.
like the last two seasons I have before the Penn State game seemed tainted.
Hmm.
I just wonder how they would have done if it wasn't the sign stealing. And you know what? Here's the thing. JJ said, "Oh, in 2020, Ohio State was stealing our signs, and we had to even the
They did too.
battlefield." And just like, dude, you weren't even there in 2020. What are
Yeah,
you
how do you know
talking
what was going
about?
on?
And you know what? Ohio State was way too talented then to have to steal signs. I'm sorry, but
We went to the Natty that year, bro.
yeah, and I'm sorry, but like. even like the even like the 2018 game, they're saying, well, they've had to steal signs from us in 2018 because they put up like 63 plus points. I'm like, no, your defense atrocious. Like
Mhm.
you guys thought you were elite. You guys thought you can make the playoff game, and Ohio State ruined those dreams.
Yeah, it sure
So
did, bro.
I don't know. I just think it's just garbage. Like I'll it just angered me when all some of these self-righteous Michigan fans want to say, "Oh, our we never do anything wrong. We
Oh yeah.
are we are the leaders and the best." Like, shut up.
Not remembering the Fab Five and all their rule breaking and all that stuff they did, and Charles or the tractor trailer in the late '90s. His money bag that he took playing Michigan basketball. So yeah, they're definitely not above reproach, man. They never will be. They can have the sanctimonious attitude if they want to keep it, but we all know it's a charade and it's a facade,
I
and
mean,
there's
I
no merit
just
to it.
I mean, plus like the last 2 months they've had, let's see, their well, now ex D line coach got a got a
Yeah.
DUI, and now Denard Robinson got a second DUI OWI,
Yeah,
whichever
it's
one it
called
was.
OWI Michigan DUI in most states. I don't know why they changed it here, but
But here's the thing though, I went on MGO blog to see what they're saying.
me too, me too.
They're like, don't these idiots know when to quit? But in
It's
all
bad, man.
seriousness,
Like
if
Denard's
the,
got an issue.
It, in all seriousness, if this is Denard Robinson's second DUI, like I hope he gets the help he needs.
I hope he
I
does
really
too,
do.
man. Because like, I
Because
mean, that's why I
that's
texted you guys in the group chat. I was like, "Dang, Denard got OWI. I hope he gets the help he needs." Like,
this is the
just
second one.
yeah, this is the second one. Yeah,
Wait, when did he get his first one?
in Jacksonville when he was playing for the Jags, he drove his car into a pond at about 2 miles per hour. Him and his girlfriend at the time were both asleep. They didn't wake up when they're in the pond. They're sinking. They're literally gonna die. Um, a police officer rapped on the window, and they ignored him while they were in a pond sinking. And there's video of this. You can find it if you want to watch it. It's a crazy video, man. Um, they just crossing the lanes at like 3.5 miles an hour, going through an intersection like this slowly, and then goes down an embankment and
How
slips into a
fast?
pond. About 3 to 5 miles an hour.
Oh, how long ago was this?
That was in 2016.
Oh, I mean, like if it's I don't know, man. I don't. If you're looking at like a 8 year span from the last DUI, I would
That's a
say
long time between,
I
but
would
that
say
doesn't
that's
mean
not a drink problem. I see that's being like really irresponsible and selfish.
okay. Okay, that's fair. The reasonable take here on Buckeyes Battle Cry Live. Yeah, it's not like it's second in 3 years, but it's still an issue of multiple ones, and that's not including ones he didn't get caught for. I would imagine he's had times where he hasn't gotten caught. If when you do something a second time, I imagine you've done it more than twice. Just my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
so I hope no, truthfully, I hope he does get the help he needs because I mean, I personally think there's some internal drama going on and some stuff in his life. He's not
I
pleased.
mean,
He's not happy.
here's the thing, dude. He gets one more DUI. That's a felony.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Now here's the thing to kind of like make this 100% truthful. He was not charged for a DUI in Jacksonville. It was clearly evident that he was intoxicated because he was not responding to police while literally sinking in a pond with his girlfriend. So clearly he was intoxicated, but he was not charged with a DUI in Jacksonville for whatever reason.
Was it
Um,
OWI?
DUI, I think it's a DUI in Florida still. I don't think it's called OWI down there.
Gotcha.
Um,
What was he charged with then?
Nothing. They let him go completely.
Oh my god.
Just an accident, maybe. So
Well,
yeah,
you're part of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're gonna let you go on this one.
something like that, bro. But yeah, no, this Denard's DUI, OWI happened right up the street from my house. I mean, I went through the intersection the next day, and I was like, dang, this is where it all went down. You got a single vehicle accident right here at this intersection.
I wonder
It's right
if
on my way to work.
I wonder if I wonder if they'll
Exactly.
fire him. I wonder if he'll have to resign.
He's
I mean,
suspended indefinitely, and if they fired Scruggs for the same reason, there's no. He set the precedent with Scruggs. You have to fire him. He
yeah,
has to be like that.
you can't just say we're gonna fire this guy, but we're not gonna fire that guy. That's like such a big double standard right there.
Yeah, he's like, no, this is a Michigan legend. We're not gonna fire our dude Denard. Like that'd be so messed up. I'd file some charges if I was Scruggs in that case.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's the second time a staffer under Sharon Moore has gotten charged with this. You know, I was watching a live earlier this week on Sunday, or no, a certain video. I think they released it on Monday when this happened. Um, you know, does Michigan have a celebratory problem? Do they have a culture problem? Do they have this? Do they have that? You know, this is on Michigan Channel. You know, does Sharon need to set the rule and set the law and be like, listen, to my staff, no drinking and no being out past a certain time. Like, is that a adult thing you do, or is that not something you do as a staff?
I don't know, man. I mean, I just like I didn't hear any of that stuff happen under Jim Harbaugh. I didn't hear of any of that stuff happen
Sure.
under Lloyd Carr.
Ooh, yeah, I'll just let that go. We'll let bygones become bygones with Lloyd Carr's staff. That's true. That was Gary Muller's staff I was thinking about. Gary Muller had a DUI, and then Lloyd Carr got hired in his place for a drunken night out. Gary Muller got fired, but anyway,
Oh,
bygones be bygones.
yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, you really have, you gotta check your staff, and you definitely have to check your players. I mean, I hate to say it, but let's be honest, man. Urban Meyer didn't check his players at Florida,
No,
and Urban
no.
Meyer didn't check his players at Ohio State.
And we're not throwing rocks or throwing stones here. I mean, JT Barrett got DUI when he was at Ohio State,
Yeah, he
if I
did.
recall correctly.
Uh huh.
So we're not here to throw stones. You know, we hope Denard gets the help he needs, like truthfully and legitimately. We want him to get the help he needs. But we'll see what happens. Go Bucks forever, man. Join the channel though. We talk a lot of Ohio State football and a lot of Michigan football as well. A lot of Big Ten football in general. So Clayton, join the channel, man. Moving on past the Michigan probation and the Denard OWI. Um, the transfer of Dallin Hayden. We didn't touch on this last week for some reason. I don't know why I didn't talk about it. I meant to make a short, like a YouTube short about it, but I never got around to it. Dallin Hayden transferred out of a stacked running back room, and clearly there was something they didn't like about Dallin Hayden
I don't know,
as a
man.
running back.
I
I
thought he was,
loved what I saw. But
yeah.
clearly, they wanted to go get Quinton Judkins over Dallin Hayden. I think Justin is going to be great, but Hayden, every time he was on the field, performed. So I'm a little frustrated. But I think I'm going to learn to like Quinton Judkins quite a bit. What do you think about this whole Dallin Hayden not getting the field in the 2022 Michigan game, not seeing the field last year for Chip Trayanum? What?
Yeah, here's what I don't understand. If you're going to use a running back to that of that caliber in
Mhm.
games and they perform, why not use them in the biggest games? I mean, we didn't really see we didn't really see him in the Georgia game, did we? And here's the
No,
thing
not in
though,
the Georgia game.
he told the press that he was going to use down Hayden more. It
Hmm.
never happened.
Coach speak,
And
man, trying to
the
appease the
fact that
player.
look, congrats, Chip, on running in the game, on bulldozing your way for the game-winning touchdowns in Notre Dame. But I wanted to see more Dallin Hayden.
I
Like
did too,
here's the
bro.
thing though, Dallin Hayden he's a shifty back. I mean, he can do 100+ yards in a game. But
Easy. He
here's the
did
thing though,
175 versus Maryland, I think, or 150 or something.
yeah, here's the thing though. I think Ryan Day is just like he still has those comments in his head, and he wants to play bully ball with Chip Trayanum, which is
Right.
that was
And
stupid.
Mayan Williams, of course, yeah. I think
Mine
Dallin
Williams
Hayden's
didn't
better
really
than
see the
both of
field
those running
either.
backs. I think
Mine
he's better
Williams,
than both Mayan and Chip.
yeah. Here's the thing though. Mine Williams didn't really see the field in 2023.
Not as much, yeah. Not as much. That's true.
I just feel like with Henderson hurt, they just couldn't find their identity in the running game. And, it was kind of like, I just feel like they're like, well, we'll try you. No, we'll try you. No, we'll try you.
What I kept
So,
reading in the articles and in the comment sections of the various websites that I visited this last week, was that he was terrible at pass protection, and that's why he wasn't seeing the field. It wasn't because he wasn't an elite runner and a dasher through the holes and had great vision. I must add, it's because he couldn't. The coaches couldn't trust him to pass protect, and that sucks, bro.
so why not only put him in when you need like a first down or in a running situation?
Maybe it's
Put
too
someone else.
telegraphed. I don't know. Like if other teams have that kind of scouting report on him, maybe it's telegraphed he's going to get the football. I don't know.
Yeah, or he can just go out for a pass in the flats.
Yeah, or pass on the flats without question. So me personally, I'm a little disappointed that Allen Hayden's moving on, man. He has not announced yet. He's been in the portal for like a week and a half. There's been schools that he's visiting. He's going on these visits, of course. And obviously, he did not play in the spring game because there was no point for that, for his body to get injured. But he's going to a different school, and it kind of frustrates me a little bit. I really like
Yeah.
him a lot. Thanks for the
I
backup in the comments, by the way, Rancid. Did he?
I think that he'll end up at Kentucky.
What about Tennessee? He's from Memphis.
Yeah, that could be a possibility. I don't know what Tennessee's running back room looks like, but
Yeah, I don't have the slightest clue. Rancid,
wherever
you
he
you might
wherever
know
he
more about it than we do,
yeah,
being
wherever
an
he
SEC fan.
goes, wherever he
Hmm.
goes, he's gonna be talented. And he's gonna make some plays.
Well, I was talking about this on the phone with my cousin. He shared the same frustration. He lives out in California, the one I watched the terrible Mizzou Cotton Bowl versus or with. Um, and he was frustrated that Dallin Haynes gone too because he mentioned the same game as the Maryland game, the Purdue game when he came in. He played well. He performed. He stepped up to the plate. Players play big in big games, and I always thought he performed well when he came in. So
Here
I'm disappointed he's leaving.
here's the thing though, and here's what I was thinking about. He didn't play in the Michigan game. He didn't
Right.
play
Not a
in the
snap.
Georgia. He didn't play in the Georgia game. Maybe they knew that hey, we're not going to be able to run the ball against that Georgia D line or Michigan D line. We're going to have
Hmm.
to pass a lot, and we can't trust this guy in pass protection that we can't play him.
Right. Right. It's a very, very, very realistic possibility, and I think the rumors are true. I think the reason he didn't get on the field is because, yeah, absolutely, is because he couldn't pass protect, and that's the only reasonable explanation I can find for why he didn't see the field. Because every time he got on the field, he stepped up and was
Nah,
a
man, the
man
most
amongst boys.
embarrassing loss in Michigan program history is to Appalachian State.
'07, Appy State in the big
Yep,
house.
Appalachian State. But that's close because they were talking so much smack before that game.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Like they're acting like they didn't know any of the players' names. JJ's like, we're gonna Nash and gash that 3-3-5 defense. So
They got pounded so badly, bro. That was one of the best losses to watch in the last decade or so. But yeah, man, the Appalachian State game was hilarious. I was at the B Dubs up the street watching that with a bunch of Michigan fans, and believe me, I was giving it to them because I was a teenager. No. Let's see, I just graduated high school that year, and I was here in Ann Arbor, and I was giving it to them. Trust me, I was giving it to them. Because we were playing Youngstown State that day. You know, one of the other powerhouses of FBS, and we laid the smackdown on them. So I was sitting back, relaxed, and all cool, and just like giving trash to all the Michigan fans, and it was a good time, man.
here's the thing, dude. I read an article. It was in 2013, and it was about how all the players smoked marijuana before that game.
I heard that too. I don't know how much I buy that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I read that on MGO blog. They were talking about that recently too. For some reason, I ran into some comments about that game. I
that
don't
they
know how
they
much I
all
buy
smoked
that.
marijuana before that game.
And partied that whole week and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I buy that though, because Mike Hart, Chad Henne, and Jake Long came back and were leaders of that team. They were proclaiming we're coming back for a national championship, and they're the senior leaders, and they're so focused. I don't know if they'd let their players and their underclassmen do that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but if that's how they cope, that's how they cope. Michigan fans, you can cope however you want to cope. I guess. Still one of the worst losses you've ever had. One of the worst losses in NCAA history.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, like, we'll see what happens with Dallin Hayden.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
You
I hope
know,
he lands in a good program, and I
yeah.
hope he does ball out. I'm gonna root for hard for him. I really like him.
What if he goes to Michigan, dude?
Yeah, no, he's dead to me. Dead to me.
as,
He
as
follows. I don't think he would follow a coach that didn't play him though. So
yeah.
just realistically
But what?
speaking,
But was it Alfred's decision not to play him?
I mean, I'd say so. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
Being the running back coach, I would say it probably was his call.
yeah,
You know, but
yeah.
but
That makes sense.
obviously Day gets the superseding call above all. But yeah, I'd say probably Alfred gets the last or one of the big important says on that. But next Thursday, man, we got the NFL draft coming up. We're gonna have a decision to make if we want to go live or if we want to watch the draft. I think we should go live, but we can get to that in a little bit, Clayton. We'll get to that in a little bit. Um, but next Thursday, obviously Marvin Harrison and now JJ McCarthy are both projected potentially as top five picks. Now Marvin Harrison has always been a top five pick. Shoot, he would have been a top five pick a year and a half ago. Um, Now JJ slipped up into the top five. Where do you think JJ is realistically a top five selection in the NFL draft?
Man, I don't know, dude. The only thing they ever bring up is his winning record. Great.
Well,
He has a winning record. He won the national championship. That's great.
right,
But there's been a lot of national championship winning quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks who have had a winning record, who have gone to the pros as a high draft pick who just come I could name a few. Let's see,
sure.
Matt Leinart, who is it?
Yep. Stetson Bennett,
Yeah, Eric Eric Crouch. What is it? Eric Crouch.
Eric Crouch from Nebraska. Yep.
Yep, Eric Crouch. Ken Dorsey.
Oh, Ken Dorsey is like the prime example. Like Jason White,
Yeah.
another Oklahoma quarterback. There we go again. It's down. Yes. That's our goal. Make sure it comes down once a broadcast. I love it,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
um, the funny thing is that they keep on talking about on NFL draft broadcasts is that for every other quarterback besides JJ, he's got the gills back just like in the spring game.
Uh,
They bring up statistics. Jaden Daniels, 4,500 yards, 46 touchdowns. You know, um, Drake May, all his stats are splashed because they're huge. They're actual legitimate Heisman candidate
they don't
quarterback
bring up stats with
statistics.
JJ.
Whereas JJ, all they can list is his record because his stats are pathetic. Absolutely average and below average.
I'm telling you, man. Like Harbaugh is selling this dude hardcore to the NFL. Like,
Harbaugh's talking him up because he want. That's his boy. That's his. He might as well be his
well,
child.
no, he wants Marvin Harrison Jr. to slip to
Well,
him.
he just signed J.K. Dobbins. Remember when J.K. Dobbins went for 200 yards on Michigan? He remembers
Yeah.
that well, and he just signed J.K. Dobbins. So I think he remembers why. He knows Ohio State players produce in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. He probably just won't admit it to the. But yeah, I
Do you-
really think that he wants by some chance Marvin
Mm,
Harrison Jr. to slip to him
mhm,
because you
mhm.
could have Caleb. Think about it: Caleb Williams,
Yeah,
J.J. McCarthy,
Drake
Drake
May.
May, and there could be four quarterbacks taken in the first four picks.
Yeah, no doubt.
Who could be that fourth one? Michael Penix Jr.
I'm seeing him a little bit lower, but possibly. I'm seeing him projected a little bit lower.
Where's
Uh,
Bo Nix? Where's Bo Nix?
I haven't seen
Name?
his name too much in too many mock. I'm not a huge mock draft guy myself, just admittedly. I don't look at too many mock drafts. But I did look at some mock drafts recently for the top five because Marvin Harrison's in there, and not because JJ's in there, which is interesting to me. But do you think, yeah, Marvin's projected to either go fourth or fifth? So you think Marvin could be selected by the Chargers then at five, if he drops to five, that is.
He could. I mean, that's probably why he's. That's probably why he's selling them because he's probably like, man, there's already possibly two quarterbacks who are going to be the first two picks. Let's talk
Mhm.
up JJ to make him top three, top
Yeah,
four, and then Marvin. That will make Marvin Harrison. Because let's think about it. They shipped off all their weapons for Justin Herbert.
sure.
Keenan Allen's gone. Mike Williams is gone.
Yeah,
Austin
bro.
Eckler's gone. I mean, I don't know who's left. I
They
really
don't have
don't.
many weapons left on an offense.
So
It's
I
just
I I, I could see that happening. People
okay.
kept like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. But if you look at the moves they made, in which they were head scratchers, I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
you ha-
why are they dumping these players?
you have a really good quarterback, which I knew he was gonna be. If that dude got a chance, to play his rookie year, he did well. He did well for my fantasy team.
Hmm.
Like those moves are head scratchers. I'm like, wait a minute, like you have Justin Herbert. You got rid of who's the dude gonna throw to? Like oh,
Yeah,
like
bro.
now he's talking up JJ because he wants Marvin Harrison Jr. to slip. Here's the thing
And it
though,
makes me up. Uh,
JJ
uh,
McCarthy's staying home. He's not going to the draft.
yeah, that's an interesting development. I
He
heard
probably
only
doesn't want the
13
camera
players.
on him.
He don't want the camera. I think he's gonna be the guy that's sitting there for a long time. Um, and so I think he knew. I think he knew or had a suspicion. Um, uh, I heard only 13 players are going to the draft this year in Detroit, so that kind of sucks.
What?
But
Why?
I read that somewhere. And I heard that was the number. So they're
Why
not gonna have
though?
too many
Like,
stage people. Like it's gonna be boring as all get out going to the draft. You're not gonna see too many players walking across the stage in Detroit here coming up later a week from tonight
did they give a reason why a lot of players aren't coming? I mean, because like there
because of
52
that. I
picks
think
because of what the camera
because they
thing.
don't want to be that player that's sitting there with the cameras all over them.
I mean, come
I
on,
know
man.
I wouldn't want to be.
If you can't take that heat, then you know
It's you.
what?
Yeah, right. It's usually a quarterback that they focus on. So any other position, you should show up.
I mean, this is the year of the quarterback and wide receiver.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you
No,
got
no joke. No
four
joke.
or five wide receivers who could be potentially first rounders. You have you have Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Yep.
Malik Neighbors. You
Yep.
have
Roma, you doing Zay?
yeah. Then you have the other LSU wide receiver.
Oh, sure, sure, sure. Yep.
Then you have Xavier Worthy as well.
Xavier Worthy from Texas.
So
Absolutely. Yep.
you could have potentially four or five first rounders at wide receiver,
It would be
and four or
fascinating,
five
man.
potential wide receivers at quarterback.
Yeah. I think it was last year where I didn't see a single wide receiver taken until JSN was taken at like 18 or 19th in the draft. So that was
Yeah,
interesting. It won't be that way this year.
I think this week, I mean this year's the weakest class is going to be running backs. I don't see one
Yeah.
running back taken in the first round. Not even
It's a,
Corum.
as we all know, it's a dying position in the NFL. Like there always going to be a need for a running back, but running backs are a dime a dozen, man. They're replaceable to the NFL teams, and that's just what they are. This is what the positions become, unfortunately. Um,
Just like the
it
fullback.
just is. What's that?
Just like the fullback.
Just like yeah. I don't think the running back will ever
Fullbacks
disappear.
were huge in the 90s and like they used to be
Like
huge. I mean Corey Schlesinger, you
Mike
had
Allstott.
Mike Allstott, dude.
Yeah, I loved the fullback position, dude. Loved it. I
Yeah.
love bruising football,
I
admittedly.
think Corey Schlesinger broke like 20 helmets, 20 face masks in his playing career.
Is that true?
Yeah, dude, he'd at least break one
He's a
his
monster,
helmet
dude.
once a season.
Yeah, yeah, he was a monster. And then he had the bus, who was basically a fullback, but he was a running back.
Oh, that was Mike Allstott, dude.
No, I'm talking about the bus for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't
Oh,
remember his name right now. Jerome Bettis.
what do you mean he wasn't a bust?
No, Jerome Bettis.
Oh,
The bus was his
oh,
nickname.
I thought you said he was a bust. But yeah, his nickname's the bus. Did you know he played at, gosh, what Detroit school did he play for?
Oh yeah, he was from Detroit. Yeah, yeah. That was the
Yeah,
whole storyline of the whole Super Bowl, was the bus coming back home. I don't remember what high school it was though. That was all the way back in '06. Was
yeah.
it Detroit Central or Detroit Catholic Central?
No, he did not go to Detroit Catholic Central. That would have been a huge deal. No, he did not.
It was a
He,
small school?
I think he didn't go to Country Day. He went to
No.
I think he went to some Detroit public school.
I'm gonna have to look that up because now you got my curiosity piqued. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting, man. Um, let's see. I guess one last thing I wanted to talk about was just the upgrades at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, man. I just read earlier in the day that they are that they're expanding the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. That is the practice facility down in Columbus. It was built in 1987 and it's outdated now. When I've seen Alabama's and I've seen Florida State's, shoot, even Northwestern, ours looks so outdated and dungy and dark and ugly and hideous, like comparatively. We're behind the times. And Gene Smith made a comment on that. Bjork coming in, they're doing some fundraising for it. They're expanding the Woody Hayes and they're putting it with all the bells and whistles. They said they need more space. And like I said, it needs to be updated because that thing is ugly, bro. On the inside, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a facility built in 1987, bro, of course it's gonna be outdated. Like, it's time to get with the times, and Ohio State is a program that's gonna be with the times. What's up? What's up, Hayden, dude? Welcome to the program. We're just transitioning out. We don't have a whole lot more to talk about, but we are talking about the Woody Hayes expanding. What do you think, man? Do you think Ohio State uh, um, is gonna we're already one of the top 2 recruiting programs in the nation, but this
You
is
need
only
a
gonna help, right?
yeah, dude. I mean, have you ever seen Clemson's facilities?
Oh, it's phenomenal,
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's phenomenal. That was one of the big reasons why before NIL that the recruiting was skyrocketing, was their
Sure.
extremely updated facilities. I mean, if Ohio State updates their facilities, which by the
Hey, what's
sounds
up,
of it
Pods?
sounds like they are, their recruiting could elevate to the next level because facilities, everything, man. That's like one thing that recruits talk about:
Yeah,
facilities, facilities, facilities.
sure, sure, sure.
Because they
I
want to be
think
they want to be taken care of. So
yeah, no doubt. And they have a lot of the bells and whistles. I've seen some program tours and some from Andrew Moore. He has a great Ohio State football channel. He's a walk on at Ohio State's program, and he made a YouTube channel about his visits and all this other stuff. And I've seen some of the walkthroughs of the facilities. They're great, but they're not elite. And so I'm excited. Go Hawkeyes.
go Hawks.
I always root for you guys. They're always like a side team that I'm like,
Yeah,
please beat Michigan. Please beat Michigan.
I
I
was
like
rooting
Kirk
for
Ferentz too.
rooting for you guys in 2015 when you played Michigan State.
100% I was too.
Yeah, but freaking what's his name? LJ Scott had to
LJ Scott.
get that stupid last
That
minute
stupid late
touchdown.
touchdown. Thanks. Thanks, Hayden. Dude.
Thanks,
Appreciate you.
man.
We appreciate you big time. Um, yeah, man. It's cool to see the facilities expand and grow, and it'd be awesome to see the updates that they do to the Woody Hayes Athletics Center, the WAC as they call it. Um, it's needed, because everything else at Ohio State is elite, like that I've seen. It's just that thing was a little antiquated, and I think it'd be a nice addition. So yeah, man. Um, any other things that you want to cover based on the spring game or projections for 2024, or anything that I missed covering this week that you wanted to get your 2 cents in on,
Hmm.
or are you pretty much set?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I'd say I'm pretty much set. You know, I just
Sure.
for their. I mean, I'd say that I hope the quarterbacks are working hard. There's still a lot of work to do in
Yeah.
that room.
Get that timing down.
I'm not impressed. I'm not like wowed over the
Are you
quarterbacks.
worried?
I'm worried. Yeah, I'm worried.
You are worried. Okay. Interesting. I'm
Yeah.
concerned. I wouldn't say worried,
Oh
but I
no,
get
I'm
where you're
worried,
coming
dude.
from.
We don't need another
We
last
don't
season.
need another wasted defense, do we?
No, I mean they're it just upsets me because you know
Oh
what?
yeah.
They had the quarterback room locked down. It's
Yeah.
just like I feel like
It's
Ryan
slipping away,
Day.
but
What I've seen from Ryan Day is that he sees one weakness. He
uh
puts all his energy concentrated in that one weakness, and then something else slips.
that's a fair point. I can see your criticism of that, and I can see why you say that. He it's like I think that's why he's taking the CEO approach, and that's why he brought in Chip Kelly, so he can be more of a CEO guy, so he can facilitate and oversee things, and not have to micromanage every little aspect of our team like he was doing in the past.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just like okay, you fix the secondary, but now
Uh-huh.
we have a weakness on the O line and quarterbacks, which that was never the weakness before. It's just like, okay, you're concentrating on all these wide receivers now because we never got
Sure.
these top wide receivers,
Sure.
and now the secondary. It's just like it's like the domino effect. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna work on this project. Oh, now I'm letting this project slip. Like, oh, I'm gonna go work on this project, and now this project is
Right.
slipping after I just built it up.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Well, I think for 2024, quarterback could be similar to 2023. But
I
for
hope that Julian
2025
Saints.
moving forward, I think we're pretty darn set at the position.
Yeah, I hope that Julian Saints put in a lot of work, man. I mean,
Yeah,
he
I
has
think
the
so.
potential to be something special, but
I
right
agree.
now it's just not it.
Shoot, I think Aaron Nolan has potential to be something special too, and Tavion St. Clair. I think all of them have a chance to be the winner of the
I'm
quarterback battle in 2025.
I will do nothing if you say go Bears. All right, sure, go Bears.
Um, so it'd be interesting based on the future, man, to see. I think 2024 is a little bit bare at the position. I think we're solid at every other
Peter,
position, though.
you gotta say go Bears, man.
Go Hawks, go Bears. Um, yeah, man. And so we'll see. I think we are a little thin at the QB position for 2024. I think a iron sharpens iron, though, and those guys are going to be competing all summer for the position. Those three that you mentioned. Have a good night, man.
Yeah,
And and I think it'll be interesting based on going forward in the future. But I think for 2025, we're all pretty much set at the QB position, and we'll be stacked from there on out. Because Dave recruits quarterbacks. He just screwed the pooch with viewers, as you mentioned earlier.
I'm
So
just I'm just talking about. I hope that Julian Saints put out work so we can come in mid-season and save the day.
yeah, you mentioned that in your video. Go back and check out that video, and please go back and check out our video on the spring game. I'll wrap up live from the horseshoe at the spring game. But you did mention that in the video. You hope the Saint comes in mid-season and is the guy. Well, I'll tell you right now, he's got to get in the weight room. Dude is tiny compared to
Yeah,
the other two guys.
yeah, he is.
He needs to put on some serious weight. So we'll see how it goes, man. But
I got champ of the week and chump of the week.
yes, sir. What you got for champ of the week? Who is your champ of the week?
My champ of the week is the Ohio State secondary for
Yes.
staying consistently elite. So,
Yeah, buddy.
you know, it's really hard to duplicate that success year in and year out. I mean, this is second year in a row and they all look like they're in lockdown.
They're
And
shutdown corners, man. BIA for a reason.
oh yeah, definitely, dude. My chump of the week, those Michigan fans finally get to eat their cheeseburgers. So
We
enjoy.
should we, we should send some cheeseburgers to order for a coworker. Uh Yeah, man. Every Michigan fan. Send them a
Yeah.
cheeseburger, Rancidity.
Oh, dude, here's what we should do, man. Here's what we should do. You can do DoorDash like anywhere.
Oh, sure, sure.
Dude, put the
Some
address in
note.
Schembeckler Hall and send like and let's like order from the dollar menu.
Double. Yeah, whatever's on the dollar menu, no doubt. Double
The
cheeseburger or
McDonald's
something.
double, yeah,
Just
double cheeseburgers.
just send it to them and leave it on the doorstep. A little note. That'd be hilarious, bro. I love it. I love the way you think.
Yeah.
All right, man. Good champ of the week,
Yeah.
man. I appreciate it. One last question I do have for you: Is Michigan gonna out participate Ohio State fans in the spring game? Will there be more than 80,000 in the big house?
Seeing, no, typically it tends as well coming off national championship season, so
Hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and say yes.
Interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and say no, not because I'm a hater, but because even last year they had about like 20,000 fans there, and I heard it's only supposed to be in the 50, like 49 degrees on Saturday.
Oh
So
well, in that case, probably not. But
we
I'm
had
gonna
great
go.
weather. We had the blessing
Dude.
of
I
great
mean,
weather.
if they showed up for that, if they showed up for that parade, then I
Right.
could see them. In that cold weather, I could
Yeah.
see them showing up
With the blizzard
for
that we had
in
that
full
day.
force for spring practice, seeing that they're just coming off national championship season. So
It's very possible they could outdo us for the first time ever, but I'm gonna go ahead and say no. But
yeah,
man, Rob, thanks for another great live, bro. Rancidity and Hayden,
gotcha.
dude. Thanks for tuning in this
Thanks,
week.
man.
We got the NFL draft next week. We're gonna go live again next Thursday. We'll be back tuning in. As long as you're ready to go live and don't want to watch the draft live. But yeah, I imagine we'll be live here on YouTube at 9:15 again next week. So all right, man. You have a good night. Go Bucks and God bless.
Go
We'll see
Bucks,
y'all
man.
next week.
See you, man.
Later.